What's good? What's good? I am back. Yours truly, the one on Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, world events, and much, much more. You see the name above me. Today, I'm going to react to a video: pro-feminist attack anti-feminist woman. I think it's Just Pearly that's on here getting attacked by a bunch of pro-feminists, and they're debating trans women in sports. But before we get into that, let's plug in one of our sponsors. And from now on, instead of doing the intro, I'm going to be doing an outro. Here we go.
That turn, that lit, that slap. It is that one. That everybody talking about
there's a new drink.
That's that turn, that lit, that slap. It is that one. Everybody talking about Dizzle new drink.
They like you can Dizzle too. Dizzle is a premium luxury liqueur mixed with agave tequila, French cognac, and orange liquor mango mix. Just throw your Dizzle on ice, and it's nice. If you want to order your very own bottle or bottles of Dizzle premium luxury liqueur, must be 21 and over. Shipping and handling is included. Just go to dizzlebrand.com, click on our locations, and click on one of the top 3 website links. I recommend Emilio's Beverage. Like I said, must be 21 and over. Shipping and handling is included. And if you're located in California, Oklahoma, Kansas, or Arkansas, there's actual store locations in those states as well. Just scroll below those website links. Plus the Dizzle brand, hats, T-shirts, and much, much more. Go to dizzlebrand.com, click on the merchandise store, or go to etsy.com and search for Dizzle brand. Or the direct link is etsy.com/shop/Dizzle brand. Etsy.com/shop/Dizzle brand. So yeah, we're definitely going to be doing things differently. I'm going to be pretty much not doing an intro no more. I'm going to do an outro, and I'm trying to find this video. Bear with me here. Bear with me here. All right, here we go. We're about to get into, I think this is Just Pearly Things, putting all these pro-feminists in their place. Shouts out to Pearly.
Guys, so I stumbled across this,
and of course, the Black Conservative Perspective, Greg Foreman. Shouts out to him.
So-called anti and pro-feminist. Okay, now they're debating a number of issues. And this is from Vice debates, including abortion, trans rights, and Me Too. Now, the part of this debate that I'm going to react to, right, is the part about trans rights, specifically biological men being able to compete against biological women in sports. And I got to tell you guys, the delusion from the so-called pro-feminists is absolutely insane. Or some of these women. I'm not sure if you can call them feminists.
You know, before he finishes, he said the argument they're making for biological men competing in women's sports. You know why they're making that argument? Because they can't make the argument the other way around. They can't make the argument that women should compete in men's pro sports because they won't make the fucking cuts. They won't even make the team. Let's go.
When you are pro men being able to dominate women in sports and women not having their own spaces, but hey, I mean,
it's again, a one-sided coin.
I don't know what the modern day definition of feminism is. All I know is that some of these women are clearly delusional. So I want to react to this, but before we get into this, I have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, Virtual Shield. Our passwords, bank accounts, and personal data are more vulnerable to hackers than ever before. That's why hundreds of thousands of savvy internet users have turned to Virtual Shield VPN. Virtual Shield's VPN has exceptional speeds, a strict no-log policy, military-grade encryption, is US-based, and my personal recommendation for online privacy. And as you guys can see here, this is my current setup when I'm unprotected by Virtual Shield. Okay, when I don't have my VPN turned on, it's very easy to turn on. All you gotta do is just click the connect button and it turns on, and voila, you're now protected. Okay, you're on a virtual private network. Your IP address changes. Okay, so now you are protected online when you are surfing. Now, for me personally, one of the most unique and cool benefits about using this VPN, is when I'm traveling, my search results are not the same because I'm not in the same location as I am at home, right? So when I use a VPN, I like to connect to a place close to home. That way, my search results for Google and when I'm researching things are the same as they would be at home. And I find that to be very, very, very helpful when I'm trying to access certain local news stories that may not have access in certain locations or countries. So with that being said, you can avoid sporting event blackouts, access local websites which are blocked outside of state borders, watch television premieres before they show up in your time zone, stop hackers from seeing your keystrokes, passwords, and accessing your work file. Protect yourself now, starting with a free 60-day trial doing Virtual Shield's New Year's special simply by going to virtualshield.com/BCP. Again, you can go to virtualshield.com/BCP. Get the fastest no-log VPN today, 78% off, lifetime discount. Start protecting yourself today. All right, so without further ado,
before he gets into it, I just want to say most content creators don't typically show the other content creator sponsors. The reason I don't mind and I do is because I typically only react to content creators that I watch a lot that I like and I support heavily. So I will also support their sponsorships as well, you know, to be heard on mine because, you know, I have my own sponsorships as well, as you see in the background. And, you know, that's a big part of what content creators do is sponsorships. But let's keep it moving.
I want to talk about transgender issues. Should trans women be included in feminist conversations? How about in women's spaces?
Yes, they're women.
Jesus Christ. Wow. Wow.
What's the question?
Pearl,
trans women are women.
So I want to come at this from the position of an athlete.
Oh, Jesus.
So I play semi-pro basketball, semi-pro volleyball. So when it comes to like athletic spaces, I don't think that trans women should be allowed into athletic spaces because I don't think it's a fair. I think as female athletes, we work so incredibly hard for the little opportunity there is in women's sports.
Would this be a barrier?
Like this, there's no barrier. There's less opportunity in some industries.
That's what a barrier is.
There's less. It's not. No. It's
That's
based on the market.
means.
Okay.
Hold on, guys.
Okay, so again, we work very hard for the little opportunity there is in the space because we're not as entertaining as the men. Sorry, we're just not.
Facts. You're not as entertaining as the men. And
Truth.
that's okay. That's totally fine. Women have their spaces where they're going to do better than men, and men have their spaces where they're going to do better than women based off the free market. That's totally fine. Again, none of these so-called feminists, they're not advocating for men to get equal pay among strippers, right?
Nope.
Female strippers, they're not advocating for that, or for male models to get equal pay.
Or OnlyFans.
The barriers, right? The so-called barriers, they only matter when it comes to women trying to make the same amount of money or be in a man's space. It doesn't apply the other way around, okay?
Double standards.
That wants to make a ton of money, right? The barriers there, that don't matter, right? That don't count. They never talk about it. They never mention that. It only is a barrier when we're talking about women, okay? And, she's just right. I mean, Pearl is 100% correct. I mean, it's just not.
Shouts out to Pearl.
And that's it. That's not necessarily
Just Pearly
a barrier
Things.
as much as that's just reality. That's the reality of the free market.
And so it's like you're going to take the little opportunity that we're given. And the problem is, we can't compete. We can't.
Nope.
Like, I'm 6 foot. If I go up against a 6 foot guy and I play basketball with him, he's going to body
You're
me.
done.
And what happens if I go up against you?
Even if I have years more of training. And so it's like you're taking away the little opportunity that we're given and we all work so hard for. And you're just giving it back to biological guys. It's like this will be the end of women's sports.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one more thing I want to say here. Do I particularly care about women's sports to watch it? Not really, unless it's MMA, right? Women's MMA is actually very entertaining.
Actually, let me plug in. the women's sports that I like to watch is female long jumping. Oh my gosh, you see how sexy that is? The wedgies they get in female long jumping, volleyball, female volleyball. Oh man, them some nice looking chicks right there. And female high jump. I could care less about the WNBA, women's soccer. I don't even watch men's soccer or men's tennis. And the WNBA, I'm not watching a bunch of women. If I want to watch a bunch of people do layups in a basketball game, I'll go watch a rec basketball league game. Let's keep it moving.
Tennis as well too, right? But I mean, I do care enough that I don't want the women who do compete to have to compete against biological men if they don't want to, right? Again, I care enough for them.
This is where me and Greg disagree. I typically agree with a lot of stuff that Greg says. Fellow North Carolinian he's from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of J. Cole, Murray, and Bombshell too. I did an interview with just last night, so check it out. I disagree with him on this because it's women who brought this on themselves. It's the feminist movement that you know, they always try to attach, you know, movements like they convinced the civil rights movement that they were the same movement, and they aren't. Civil rights movement and the feminist movement are two different movements. And anybody who thinks that the feminist movement is anywhere in the stratosphere of the civil rights movement, you're sadly mistaken. You're comparing apples and oranges. You know, civil rights movement is a whole different thing. It's a whole different humanitarian movement. And then they attach the feminist movement to these, you know, gay rights movements and transgender movements because they convince them that they're fighting for the same thing when they're not. You know, I would argue that most of these feminists, they don't want equality across the board. They only want equality in the easiest workplaces, the easiest opportunity places that benefit them. They don't want equality in garbage men, bricklaying. They don't want equality in things of that nature, you know. So let's hear what else Greg has to say. And we got somebody calling in. I hear my Pastor Cafarcier ringtone
for
going.
women to be able to thrive in their own space, even though I might not care enough to watch as much as I watch men's sports.
Have you tried confidence?
Eli, hold on, Minnie.
Sorry,
Eli.
confidence can't make me bench what a guy benches. Confidence can't make me 6'7".
So hostile. She's sharing her
And
experience
confidence can't make
in
me
a
6'7".
specific
No, she's
field.
sharing.
And
I'd have to go.
No, she's not. She's a woman who's had an experience.
Hold on,
You
one at a time.
guys are so obsessed with your own experiences and your own existence, and yet when a woman is sitting here telling you, "I feel as though this is unfair and this is compromising and this situation is not helping women," you guys are like, meh, meh, meh. But when you're like, "I'm a black person that did this, and this," then it's valid and fair and viable.
Eli, I want to give
Facts. She's right. She's 100% right. If you are a woman
I didn't
with
say
wrong
they did.
opinions, you might as well be a man, right? You might as well be a straight white male to be more specific, okay? But if you are a black woman,
That's me, a straight white male. I'm the devil. I'm the enemy. I'm a domestic terrorist, apparently. Let's keep it moving.
black liberal woman to be more specific, and you say that you have an experience, everybody's supposed to listen to you. Everybody's not even supposed to just listen to you. They're supposed to take what you say and capitulate to your demands to make life easier for them because they feel oppressed and victimized. But again,
the
when
whole
it's a
feelings
woman
over
that's,
facts
not
movement.
black, if you have the wrong opinion, that is, if it's not a liberal opinion, if it's not a feminist opinion, then that opinion should be disregarded. Okay, your feelings as a woman doesn't matter. It's just funny how that works. Again, a lot of it really is more along political lines than racial lines because we've seen, black conservative women, when they come out and they say stuff like Candace Owens, oh, she's a white supremacist, right? Her opinion doesn't count as a woman, okay? So it's more along political lines.
A black white
really
supremacist.
race. But I'm just saying, what she's saying, her point there is
It's
very
like an
valid,
oxymoron.
okay?
give you the chance to respond.
So this is basically a joke of a talking point. Everyone has biological advantages in sports. How tall are you?
5'11" and a half. I'm tall.
I'm 5'8". Mm-hmm. I am a trans woman. You would crush me. You would absolutely crush
bone density, wrist strength.
That's horse shit. I was 5'4", 115 pounds in high school. And I'm talking about high school. What a bunch of horse shit she just spewed. And you know what? Let me say this. Just because you get your hair cut like a man, it doesn't make you a fucking man.
Yeah. Muscle density, you can't switch those.
Yeah, exactly. You would crush me.
But also, Eli, you would never play at the level that Pearl plays because you would never get there.
So let me give you a few more examples here, too. So Michael Phelps produced more lactic acid in his body, which caused him to swim better than any of his competitors. This was widely celebrated, and nobody contested it. Now, this is a performance-enhancing hormone. So we all have different bodies. And now I'm not saying that trans women who aren't on hormones should participate, but there are, I mean, every major medical and every major sports organization agrees that trans women who have been on hormones for between 1 and 3 years, depending on the organization, have the same competitive abilities.
The study that you're referencing had like...
You know, before she finishes, when people say, oh, we all have different bodies, that's when you just kill your equality argument. We are not all created equal. We're all different by just physical features. Mentally, we're different. Emotionally, we're different. Interests are different. There's no one person on this planet, I think, that's exactly like any other person. There's always going to be some difference. You know, if we were all created equal, I would be the same height as LeBron James, the same weight. I'm 5'4", probably $150, maybe $155. LeBron James is 6'9", 250 pounds, and he's not 6'9" because he lifted freaking weights and got taller and shit. Just keep it moving.
7 people participated.
I'm referencing several different studies. I'm a trans woman and a researcher.
It's getting personal. I don't want it to be personal.
Yeah. So
of course it's going to get personal.
Here's what I'm saying. This is what's missing, right? What the argument that transgender person is making is essentially that, well, one, when these men go on these hormones, these feminizing hormones, then that just makes everything equal. That's not true.
No.
Right? It doesn't change bone density. Doesn't change hand size. It doesn't change the length of their limbs. It doesn't change a whole lot of advantages that men have over women when it comes to sports. It's not
doesn't
just
make
about,
them shorter,
muscle mass, or how feminine somebody looks or appears. That's not just what it's about, right? Men are born with certain advantages that they're going to retain for the rest of their lives simply due to being exposed to more testosterone. So even if they get on feminizing hormones like having more estrogen, that's not going to take away the benefits that they have simply from being exposed to testosterone.
And not to mention, I hate to cut them off again. We are typically lifting heavier things in life. We're doing all the heavy lifting. Where's the quality in that?
Well, this person is trying to say that, well, Pearl, because Pearl is tall, she's a tall basketball player or whatever. Everybody has genetic advantages and disadvantages. And it's like, yes, that is true. However, we're talking about the difference, the average difference, the variance between men and women in regards to athletic advantages. On average, a man is going to have a much greater advantage over women on average. Obviously, there are going to be situations where you have men that are going to be born that are just simply not going to be that athletic. And there may be some top tier women that could beat that man, right, in a certain sport or endeavor or whatever. But on average, a man is simply just going to be superior athletically than a woman. And that's just and that's the problem. Yes, you're going to have some women that are going to be born with great genetic advantages over other women. But that advantage is not nearly as much as it would be for literally just an average man going against women. And that's the point that they're missing here.
This space where we're...
You know what? And I think I've heard enough of this argument. The problem with this whole argument is, I'll say it a million times, is they're arguing that women should compete, or biological men should compete women's sports. But they're not arguing the opposite, because they can't, because it's not even reality, and if they keep this up, I guarantee biological men will have every single female record locked down in sports and whatnot. And I don't feel sorry for women, because the women are the ones that brought this on themselves. And shouts out to Greg Foreman, shouts out to Just Pearl, and that other chick that was defending Pearl, because they definitely were just, it's all on attack on Pearl. And this video goes to show you that video, I think it was talking about, Joe Rogan was talking about, where you got a group of women on one side of the island and you got a group of men on the other side. And it just goes to show you men can work together better, because the men literally done built houses and shelter and done build a damn community on their side of the island. And the women are still over there on the other side arguing who's going to be the boss bitch, because they all want to be boss bitches. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in, Paul Pickett Podcast. And I'm out.